Michael Jackson's song Smile, which was actually written by Charlie Chaplin. I'm a big Charlie Chaplin fan, always have been, probably always will be. It's simple concepts that make people laugh, but the big takeaway from this and what I really wanted to share on this Monday morning as we embrace this week is the impact that we have on each other. My message this year was a pretty simple one, and it was when we look at safety, not to bombard people with regulation, but talk about the importance of relationships. I truly believe in my heart of hearts it's the relationships that we make with one another that defines really who we are to them. Not our title, not our name, but the fact that we talk the talk and we walk the walk. And I can talk about safety till I'm blue in the face, about regulations, and if we leave this piece of the equation out, what can happen? You guys know that. You guys have probably experienced it. The near misses that we experience because maybe we took a shortcut, maybe made a snap decision, and at the yellow light, instead of hitting the big pedal, we hit the little pedal or the big pedal, and because we know that the yellow light means go really, really fast. And then unfortunately, a catastrophic event occurs. Everybody in that video is gone. They're no longer alive. Yeah, pretty much feels like it, right? Yeah, well, they're already gone. But I think if we could bring some people back at the end where they take that very last breath, they will tell you that their zillisecond of the death didn't define who they were, but it was the relationships that they made from here to there. It was the dash in the middle of their birth and death that define who they are. With our friendships, because we spend more time with the people we work with than our own biological family, what kind of relationship are we making with one another? And yes, the way that we do things safely is a relationship. You know, some people, if they think if they confront somebody about taking a safety shortcut, that person is going to be angry, they're going to be mad at them. And some people will take it as though you're judging them, that they're not doing their job correctly, or that they're not very good at their job. And see, we got to get that out of our head. Our abilities to do our job, how long we've been doing our job, has nothing to do with how safely we're doing it. They're two separate entities. You can have somebody who's an expert in the field for 40 years, and I've met them, that their situational awareness is not there, and they're backing up, and they don't see the big gigantic hole that they're about ready to fall into. Does that have any impact on their knowledge base, their background, how well they do their job? No. It's a safety issue. And they are two separate entities. So when we share with somebody maybe a safer way to do something, or we see something that is there and they may not see it, do we step up to the plate? Not because of the regulation or what it says, but because of the relationships that we have. You see those locations that do that, see the volume switch of frequency and accident rates turn down. I've been doing safety for 28 years. And I've been very fortunate, very lucky to watch locations that implement this, see how it has an impact on their whole safety team. Today's topic is going to be a very simple one. As I mention every year, I probably sound like a parrot. Anybody have a parrot they taught how to talk? And they always say some things that embarrass you at the wrong time.
This is safety. This is safety. This is safety.
That's kind of how I feel, either like a parrot or a big blue dodo bird, right? I talked to you about last month, yeah? Big blue dodo bird. The safety blue dodo bird, right? Personal protective equipment is one of those topics that we have to review on an annual basis. Trust me when I say this, if this was an orientation and you were new employees, we would be talking from top to bottom what a hard hat was all the way down to the appropriate work boot with the appropriate coefficient of friction and doing job safety analysis, the type of what kind of foot gear that you had, and we would spend all that time. That would be rude if I hit that this way. So what we're going to talk about is not so much about what PPEs are, but why we need to wear it and learn from those who have gone before us that have maybe taken a safety shortcut.
Zero is usually a bad thing, right? You know, zip, zilch, like when you're talking pocket money, or a team score, or a test result. But what if zero meant something else? What if zero was a good thing? What if the goal was zero? What if the goal was zero?
I did zero today.
So did I. What did you do today?
0 injuries, 0 diseases, 0 deaths. Make 0 your goal.
Every time that I show this little video snippet, somebody takes it the wrong way and goes, I know a couple people who do 0. And you go to those people and go, do you do 0? They go, yeah, I still can't figure out why they keep me around. I'm not talking about those types of people. I'm talking about making 0 the goal of our injuries, our accidents, our illnesses, diseases, and God forbid, yes, deaths. I did an OSHA 10 course. You guys know I do OSHA stuff too, and I did an OSHA 10 course last week and finished it up with a location that suffered a fatality. And it was in the fall, and one of the follow-ups was that they had an OSHA 10 course. And it was like the big pink elephant in the room that nobody wanted to talk about. I mean, it's not blaming anybody there. But every person, when we broke the ice, and everybody started talking about this fatality, everybody knew that this gentleman by the name of Larry was taking shortcuts, was using ladders inappropriately, was trimming trees with a chainsaw off of an extension ladder, which is a no-no. Everybody knew that. He was warned before. But yet on that particular day he did that. A limb came out, knocked the ladder out from underneath him. He fell, hit his head. He was on blood thinners and he died. You know, and some of those guys it was really hard for them because they actually blamed themselves. We go through that woulda, coulda, shoulda phase, and now it's too late. What if we went through the woulda, coulda phase right now and looked over maybe some of the decisions that we're making, and many of them are not wearing our PPEs, and PPE is really a last resort, as we all know. I mean, we have engineering controls. We may take the threat completely out of it, or maybe have to abate it, have somebody else do it. Maybe engineering controls, or administrative controls, where we have to maybe have some more training, have somebody show us how to do something. Maybe substitution, making something like chemicals less dangerous. But PPE is really the last resort. It's not the cure-all. Our greatest line of personal protective equipment that we have, that we take for granted, is our observations and our common sense, period. And I tell you what, that when that beeper goes off, maybe I should not do this. You shouldn't do this. You know, like people not wearing their safety belts. Well, it's never going to happen to me. You know, the one questionnaire that I've been sharing with you guys last couple months, there was a lot of municipal workers, as I shared, that don't wear their safety belts. Out of the two of them that have mad respect for me as I have mad respect for them, I goes, do me a favor. I goes, I just want you to do this because I don't wear safety belts. I never have, not in my personal vehicle, not in my city vehicle. I make my kids buckle up, but I don't. I says, just out of respect for me, can you make a commitment to me? For the next month, I want you to buckle up in every vehicle that you go to. Can you just do that as a test? Now, I know these guys, they wouldn't say, if they didn't want to do it, they'd say, I'm not interested. But they go, yeah, I'll do that. And out of the two people that did that, after the end, one guy goes, I buckled up every day, like you said, and I'm not going to buckle up anymore now. I goes, did it change anything? He goes, yeah, I started thinking about it. He goes, but it did kind of go on autopilot and kind of reach over and do things. The other guy, he didn't even realize that about the second week, he didn't realize that all of a sudden his seatbelt was buckled. See, he changed the habit. The habits normally take 2 weeks. Same thing as quitting. So one guy goes, I'm still not going to wear my safety belt. I'm still not going to do it. But the one guy goes, I'm going to wear my safety belt now. So that was, out of two people, one decided. Now the one guy was pretty honest. He goes, I did this just for you, but I don't think they're comfortable, and I just don't want to wear them. Besides, I've heard of other people that have been in accidents that they died because they were wearing a safety belt. Well, minute times that does happen sometimes, but they're very small as compared to those people who actually are saved. Their lives are saved from wearing safety belts. So when we talk about PPE, this is more of a review than covering what they are. And I want to get into the psychology of personal protective equipment. As we all know, PPE refers to protective clothing, helmets, goggles, or other garments of equipment designed to protect the wearer's body from injury or infection, such as gloves around bloodborne pathogens. Today's program is about zero accidents through safety attitude, wearing the PPE, and the relationships that we have with one another. Now, thank God we don't have monsters like that. I've told my kids when they were very young, there's no such things as vampires. Ghosts, werewolves, Sasquatch, Loch Ness Monster. It just, yeah, sorry to burst your bubble. There's no Bigfoot.
I agree with you on all of them except Bigfoot.
Bigfoot, you still believe in Bigfoot? We'll talk at the break. You know, and the way that I looked at it, I said, you know, we know that dinosaurs existed because we found their skeletons. I mean, everything that's biological has a beginning and end. It doesn't go on forever. Science teaches us that. So if there were Sasquatch, we would find a skeleton of a Sasquatch. You know, I asked my son, he's 15 now, but when he was like 6, I said he was scared. He goes, what are you scared of? He goes, it's just spooky. He goes, what are you scared of? He goes, the unknown. And I thought that was pretty smart. I goes, what are you scared of ghosts? He goes, Dad, there are no such things as ghosts, remember? He goes, yeah, but how do you know? He goes, because they've never found the skeleton of a ghost. Because he got the skeleton thing. At least he got it half right, skeleton's ghost. But we don't have to worry about these monsters like that, thank God. So what we really have to look at, the monster is us. The monster is the things that we can create, the things that we do, and also additionally the things we leave out that could possibly affect our coworkers. By writing that they have assessed the workplace to determine the hazards that require the types of PPE. That was done a long time ago. But it's not a one-time event. Quite honestly, an assessment should be done yearly. To what type of things that you need, what deficits you have, and if it's going to require other types of safety equipment because your job details have changed. You know, what you were hired in to do when you first came here, if you're here 10, 15 years, your job demands may change. Now you're required to do this or that. And that's kind of an all-inclusive in most locations. Employers are required to select and provide properly fitted protection too. It's not a one-size-fits-all, like in respiratory protection. You got to be fit tested. You got to make sure that you're medically able to wear a respirator. You know, eye protection. You know, the list is long and distinguished. I mean, you have to get it so it's comfortable. And most people want PPE that look good. You're going to see this, that one of the reasons why they didn't wear it, why don't you wear it? Because it doesn't look good. Most guys answered it that way too, not women. But it's also the employee's responsibility to attend required PPE training sessions. And if you have a tailgate meeting that's 4 minutes long with each other, OSHA identifies that as a safety meeting. Because if you pull something away from it, it's not something that's necessarily you have to go to like a class like this. You have to wear the PPE as required. Clean, maintain, and properly care for the PPE. Inform their foreman and repair replacement equipment as needed.
People cause accidents. To be more exact, people not paying attention or doing something that they shouldn't be doing causes accidents. To put it another way, accidents result from varying degrees of carelessness, sloppiness, negligence, inattention, neglect, and ignorance. Accidents also happen where two things are found: unsafe acts and unsafe conditions. Unsafe conditions occur when there is a failure to identify, control, remediate, or train properly against a hazard. Even though there can be multiple human causes, accident investigations will always identify the human failure to correct the hazard. Some unsafe conditions are easy to spot. Finding others needs a closer inspection. For example, liquid on a walking surface is an unsafe condition, but you won't see it if you aren't looking where you are stepping. People create the majority of unsafe conditions. Mother Nature can create conditions, but she gives us plenty of warning signs. If it's cold and wet, or raining or snowing, we should be aware of walking hazards. No matter what nature is up to, we can be aware of it and guard against it. However, unsafe conditions created by people are often harder to find. Overloaded circuits, unguarded machinery, unchained cylinders, altered safeties, blocked fire extinguishers, blocked exits, curled up edges of mats or carpets, spills, poor lighting, unsanitary conditions, speeding, damaged tools, and inappropriately stored chemicals like solvents and gasoline, and poor housekeeping are all examples of unsafe conditions created by people. If you see an unsafe condition and ignore it, you just made it more likely that someone will fall victim, perhaps even yourself. Unsafe acts create unsafe conditions. Unsafe acts are things like failing to properly do a job, failing to see hazards, or taking unneeded risks. For example, speeding up to make the yellow light, using tools in wrong ways, or using damaged or defective tools, not using proper personal protective equipment, ignoring the safety data sheet for chemicals you are using, or deliberately violating safety rules and procedures. How many unsafe acts can you spot today? Which ones are you doing? The worst kind of unsafe act is deliberately creating an unsafe condition. Have you done anything to make the job more risky for you or for others? Although it is difficult to foresee every condition or potential hazard, it's hard to find an accident that could not have been prevented. The person injured may not have caused the conditions that caused the injury, but something they did or something another person did directly led to the incident. The facts from accident investigations are revealing 99.5% of accidents are caused by people's behaviors. Some don't do it deliberately. Some don't do it because they just did something stupid. Others cause accidents because they think they can do it without getting hurt, or they don't think about the consequences of their actions. Some are in a hurry. They allow themselves to become distracted and are not paying attention. One thing to remember, you can make the same mistake many times without anything bad happening. I always did it this way, and nothing ever happened until today. Over time, you come to believe that some unsafe conditions or acts are okay because you have no evidence to the contrary. Whatever we do, our job is to identify as many errors as we can and correct them through education, process changes, equipment modifications, or any other way needed to ensure that we all go home safe at the end of each day.
So let me share with you 3 myths that we need to just get out in the open so that they can help us to be able to put that plan into motion. Myth 1, being safe costs money. By understanding the power of cost-benefit analysis, you can consider the direct and indirect cost of injuries. Number 2, accidents just happen. 99% of all accidents are preventable and are caused by human behavior. And the last one is one that we need to understand is no workplace can be hazardous free. Some people think that it can't. We think that we can make that workplace hazard free. You'll even see posters that say, make your workplace hazard free. Well, it doesn't do that all on its own. By the mere fact that you're performing a job function, you're creating the hazard. When you use tools, you're creating that hazard. When you go out and work on the roadway, that's a hazard. And those hazards may be things that you have little, minimal, or no control over because the person driving down the road is on the cell phone and not looking at the fact that you're working in the roadway. PPE is really the last defense. We all know why personal protective equipment is important. And everybody can say this together because it protects workers from injury. But we know that. Should something occur, that PPE is your last defense. Well, why do we have to wear it? We need to wear it when not all risks can be removed from our work environment. So simply put, it's really our last defense. Why don't people wear them then? I'm going to show you some of the excuses that I've heard, that other people have stated, and What bosses have stated very simply, I've always done it this way, never had to wear it. That's a big one. It's never been an issue before. I've done it 1,000 times without it, and that was from a hard hat. I've done it 1,000 times without a hard hat. It's only a 5-minute job. We're going to be in there and out. We won't really require anything else with it. It's dirty. PPEs do get kind of dirty, but we also have to make sure that we are inspecting them and washing them. I forgot it in the garage. I'll get it next time I go out. You know, an injury accident has a way of sneaking up on you. I mean, when we don't think it's ever going to happen to us, it's like this, and I don't want to say ghost, because I don't believe in ghosts, but it's like this situation that comes out of the blue, comes back and hits you. And then what do? We obviously, we look at the situation, or we wear too much stuff. You don't need, bigger is not always better.
Nick, give him your wand.
What for?
He's got a knife.
Knife? That's a knife.
Yeah, so bigger doesn't always mean that it's a better situation. Sometimes you can wear too many PPEs. That's why an assessment is important. In 2014, a U.S. National Safety Council Congress survey found that 87% of employees polled stated they observed or chose not to wear PPE when they should have. That's almost 90% of the people polled. PPE was uncomfortable, according to 62% of the responders. Was not necessary for the task, or was too hot, was unattractive looking. So, do we wear it all the time? You know, I've heard comments like this. Managers say, wear your PPE because it says so in the safety rule book. Do as you're told. It costs a lot of money, so wear it. You were trained to do it, so do it. And these comments just simply don't work. That crack the whip taskmaster mentality goes out the door. What makes it work is our choice and our ability to be our brother's keeper and making sure that we do things safely as a team. So, this is one of the questionnaires that I gave out once again, just to share with you. It's not this location because I don't have a location. Do you ever text on your phone while driving your personal vehicle? 23 said yes. These were people that were 30 to 50 years old. They weren't these young kids. Now, there's a decision that goes in. That's behavioral decision. If I take a shortcut while I'm driving a 1-ton vehicle or something that's like your city vehicle, which is heavier than that, what other shortcuts am I making? It's 57%. Do you always wear your safety belt in your personal vehicle? 13 said no. And that's under the average of the state of Ohio, which is 79% of the people polled said they wear their safety belt. Do you always wear your safety belt in your city vehicle? No. Those are some big numbers. Do you always wear your PPE when applicable? 13 said no. And 2 people said, well, that question doesn't apply to me. Are there any PPEs that you don't wear on a regular basis? 14 people said yes. Do you handle chemicals in a safe manner and use the right PPE that's outlined in the SDS? 25 said yes, 13 said no. Not thinking that your skin is the largest organ in the human body. So what if I told you Westerville has a new plan? Their new policy is PPEs are an option. You don't have to wear them anymore. You can come to work, especially in the summertime, with a tank top t-shirt, cut off Daisy Dukes. Okay, maybe not Daisy Dukes, but cut off shorts. And flip-flops. You don't have to worry about wearing those PPE anymore. Wear whatever you want. No hard hats, no eye protection, no ear protection, no safety boots, no reflectability, because you know that doesn't look good. I mean, who looks good in lime green, right? You look especially good with it. I'm just saying. I mean, I'm going to call it the way that I see it. Would you wear it? When I say it's optional, would you still wear it? Knowing what you know now, would you say, well, I really didn't kind of want to wear the Daisy Dukes? Yeah. Well, would you stop wearing the PPE? Well, why wear it if it's optional? You don't have to. It's hot. You know, hard hats, when it's summertime, that's pretty hot, right? You don't have to wear it anymore. Would you wear it?
I'm still wearing my steel-toed boots and my eye protection, but there is some that I would not wear.
What would be some things you would wear?
The gloves that we use when we handle the chemicals.
Chemicals?
Because they're really hard to work in. You kind of lose your finger mobility, and I mean the chemicals you get when you're injured.
Well, you probably looked at the SDS sheet. What happens if a chemical over day in and day out absorbs through the skin? What can it cause?
I guess you get it on your hands.
Have you looked at the SDS sheets?
Caustic soda you would not want to get on you at all, but like if you get a little ferric or a little hypo or phosphate's like.
What if I told you that you came down with a condition or you needed medical treatment? We weren't going to cover it because you didn't wear the PPE. It's all on you. That'd be one of the questions too. Would you be comfortable with that? And I think we have to weigh out. Do we pick and choose, or somewhere along the line, somebody did an evaluation of your work environment, said these are the type of PPEs that should be required. So I hear you loud and clear, but I think most people, if they were given the option, like you said, I'd still wear it anyways. So that's the big takeaway. People today are going to get a call telling them that their family member is not coming home today. Why? Because they were killed in a workplace accident.
Every day, a phone rings somewhere in this country. It's a call that interrupts afternoon coffee breaks, delays morning meetings. A call that can come just as the children are being tucked into bed. Maybe he's going to be late. Maybe she got a flat tire. A reminder to pick up groceries. Not today. There's been an accident, says the voice. And you need to get here quick.
Yeah, I only wish he would have come to. I never had a meaningful conversation with him after the 12th. There was no conversation. Like, I had a conversation with him. He didn't respond. So, as time went by, it became more evident that he wasn't going to recover, and there was a point in time where I guess my prayers may have turned from let's give him back to let's let him go. I played the harmonica a little bit, and I had a song.
I'm trying not to be angry. I don't think it does any good to anybody. I guess I'm more upset that we will never get to see him get married. We will never get to see him have a family of his own. And to see what the future was ahead for him. And Dave and I often talk about, I wonder what he'd be doing right now if he was here.
You never quit thinking about it every day. When you wake up in the morning, I take my prosthetic off every night. You get up in the morning or in the middle of the night and you get this phantom pain, so you don't even kind of forget that you have a prosthetic, so you get out of bed and you try to walk, and you don't walk too far on one foot.
I did this to my family and to everyone that cares about me, but I can't take that back, and I'm not going to keep banging that drum and going down that path because I cannot reverse time. I made that mistake, but I realized that I can learn from that mistake and grow. And in my case, I can grow and try and hopefully share that with other people.
I don't know like how to explain it, but like my whole life's changed. I don't know what career I'm gonna go into now. I don't know where I'm gonna end up. Like I'm back here living at my parents' house for the moment. My whole future is uncertain at this moment. And so my whole outlook on life is that cherish what you have for the time being because it could change any second. And that's exactly what happened to me. My life was under control and it was in motion the way I wanted it to be, and now it's completely upside down and not going in any direction.
You don't know what it's like till it's happened to you. We see the articles in the paper every day, whether it be, a car accident due to drinking and driving, or a workplace accident due to something that happened on site. Until that affects you directly, it doesn't affect you. It's not going to happen to me. It happens to them, not me.
You're so good at your job, you can do it with your eyes closed. You do it so well that sometimes you let your mind wander, thinking about the big game coming up, or when you're going to fix the deck. Friday night with the girls. There's a call from above, but you can't hear it. Doesn't matter. Everything's under control.
The D9 cat that was coming up the hill, and he couldn't see me because of the way the hill is. You're at I don't know what exact slope we were on, but when you're running a piece of equipment and you're going up that grade of a slope, it takes quite a bit of vision to see 15 feet in front of you or 20 feet in front of you.
He ended up pulling all the bolts out of one panel, and I said, you gotta put at least one of them back in. Headlight, sorry. I gave him the bolt, he stuck it in, he wasn't too happy about it. I never actually watched him thread it into the hole.
And I just slipped and shot in front of this piece of equipment and this straw of mine. He finally got the piece of equipment and stopped, and I just remember him backing off, and my son was there. They pulled me out from underneath the piece of equipment, and
after I hooked up the second panel, I slid to the third. I tied off, went to go do up my boot, and as I was doing that, the crane shook the form beside me, and mine wasn't attached to the wall, it had no bolts in it. The bolt had just been placed back in the hole, so it was an illusion that the form was secure, and it come back off the wall and fell backwards onto me.
Got about 8, 9, 10 trees in, so far it's going okay. Then we get to the tree the last tree I've ever felled in my life. And my plan was I put an undercut, I put a back cut, and then he would be set up, I go in my safe zone, if you want to call it safe zone. And then I would give him a hand signal to push the tree down.
The lift that he was on can become confusing once it's rotated 180 degrees. The forward control is reverse and the reverse control is forward. And I believe that he got into a situation that he was more than 180 degrees around. And he was in between some roof trusses in some close tolerances, and I believe that he pushed the lever to go forward and it went backwards and pinned him. And I think it would have been rather sudden and firm. In other words, I think it would whiff the wind right out of him.
The tree starts going over and it goes great. Then he stops and doesn't maintain pressure, slam to the ground. He actually lets go of the tree, and the tree now hits the ground, leaves the bucket in the air, rotates back towards me over top of my head. And the next thing I know is the bucket comes slamming down on me, and I try to jump out of the way, and the bucket was still able to hit me in the pelvis and slam me to the ground, and he dragged me the full width of the bucket all the way, or full width of the whole stick of the machine, and dragged me all the way down to his machine. As I'm screaming, as I feel my body starting to separate, and my legs are starting to move farther and farther apart, and going in this direction. And then he let go of me, and that's where I lay.
So he was out of wind and couldn't yell, and I don't believe that it would take too long that he would become incapacitated, and he suffocated. Now they brought him down as quick as they could. There was men in the area, and it was just too late. There were just too too long without oxygen, and it's just too long.
Take a deep breath. Do you smell it? That's the sweet scent of the life you've come to know. Friends, family, good times. No one is going to take that from you. You look out for number one because that's what you've been told. It's the code you live by. If there's ever a problem, you'll sense it. If not, someone else will. Besides, they're all looking out for number one just like you. Right?
It's probably easier for me to remember the good times, I believe.
Serving Westerville, I keep coming back and I still see the same new faces, and you have no idea how happy that makes me. How happy that makes me. And to not hear anything catastrophic. But that didn't get to where it is all by itself, because you have an investment. You know, I've met those people, and if I could put them here, they would say the same thing. Their face is just like yours, saying, you know, I never thought this was going to happen to one of my coworkers. One's a brother. One lost a brother. We want to make sure that we raise the goal so that it's not our phone that's getting the call on it. So, this week, do an assessment of what type of PPEs that you have. Make an assessment of your behaviors. Your boss can't keep you safe. Your supervisor can't keep you safe. OSHA can't keep you safe. I can't keep you safe. You can keep you safe, and the people you work beside. That's the goal. So make that assessment. Perform a work area assessment. It's pretty simple. Where do you begin? Look at your leading, not lagging indicators. What are your closed calls, new tasks, tasks that change, non-routine jobs and routine jobs? Although lagging indicators are in the past, we can still learn from those who have gone before us. Is there any type of injury that seems to occur more frequently than others? If so, eliminate that from the behavioral characteristics. These are the controls that you can use that I've already talked about. You know, substitution training in PPE is really a good start. So step one, identify your hazards in the workplace. As you walk through the area, identify what they are. If you're unsure whether something should be included, ask your team or your group together. Number two, simple. Once the hazard's been identified, implement an effective control to eliminate the hazards or reduce the hazard to an acceptable manner. And it may be just the way that we store things. Housekeeping was huge. Huge incident last year in the municipals where people were tripping over things. Overexertion injuries, once again, were big last year. Evaluate the levels of risk for each hazard to help determine what type of control should be implemented. And then four, select an appropriate solution for the hazard. Always consider if you can eliminate it, do it. And if an acceptable level cannot be reached, select and provide the appropriate PPE. Now, these are the personal protective equipment that I've identified, and I left one out. And as you're doing your evaluation, can you identify what I left out? Common sense is a PPE. Some people want to debate it, but I think our common sense to eliminate things and listen to that professional inner voice, that's our personal protective equipment. Choices. But looking at this, what have I left out? I purposely left it out. It's a simple one that a lot of times people forget. Boots. There you go. It's our boots, our shoes, our boots, our work boots. That's right. Huh? That's awesome. Did I forget anyone for you? Did I put any other ones that I forgot that you wear? Well, see, that's the thing we have to do. When our whole team looks at our list, like we did here, just like you found the deficit. You did that quick. Not everybody finds that quick. I know you are. You are pretty smart. And the thing is that because of it, are we utilizing your knowledge base? Are we knowing that he's smart and he's smart? I know you're smart too. But you know, looking at everybody and getting their input on things. When we do that, we're using the whole team. So what can you do? Walk the talk. Show your coworkers that you're not above the rules and regulations. Show your workers where to obtain the appropriate PPEs and explain to them their contribution is important. And recognize people for doing the right thing. When we do that, We have a big takeaway. So what did we review today? Common sense things. Until now, most people have thought that telling workers to wear PPE is the best way. It's not. It simply isn't. We must form a partnership. That's where the relationship comes in. While the art of verbal persuasion can be a valuable tool, showing workers by setting an example and all of us wearing it is the best policy. Visible reminders of why we want and need to work safe and what's important to us will help. So today, when you confront somebody, or when you share, let's do this safer, or hey, put on your gloves because it's a good idea. What you just did was give them a smile. Never underestimate the indelible impact that we make on one another by just smiling at them. And when we do that, and I save them that injury, or God forbid we stop an injury from happening, you're giving them a hug. And not just them a hug, but their whole family a hug. Why? Because they get to return to their family in the same condition that they came to work in. So thank you guys so much for your participation. Stay safe, stay healthy. Remember, safety is contagious. Don't be afraid to spread it. Give yourselves a round of applause. You guys did a great job. If you need EPA hours, please say afterwards, and I'll take care of that for you too. Go in peace. Thank you, brother.